key thing about recording and mixing goes to starting off with a great product. So you got to have a great artist, whether they're singing, rapping, doing spoken word, playing an instrument. And then you got to have the right miking, the right mic for them. So that's your signal chain, is the artist going into the mic going to a mic pre-compressor, whatever. Before you start, adding any plugins and things like that, you got to start with that. Then once you get that recorded, a great recording, then you go into and do your levels. Once again, before you put any effects on it, get your levels straight, get your panning straight, and then you start adding the flavor to it, whether it be a reverb, a delay, a telephone effect. That's what you add. But the first step is actually getting a great recording firsthand from a great artist, musician, another producer, so be it. But that's your first step.
Eventually, you'll be mine. Yeah. And I'ma take it to the end of time.
In 2002, I was in the military, in the Army, Patriot Missile Systems, shouts out. And I got off CQ duty, got hit by a drunk driver. My wife was driving. And out of that, I ended up having to have back surgery. So I had my first back surgery in 2004. I didn't do well, so they sent me out to see a specialist at Walter Reed. And while I was out there, I just had a lot of downtime. Like, I didn't have to report to formations or anything of that nature. So I did like a lot of writing. And at the time, I didn't consider poetry. I just considered me venting and getting things out of my system. But one of the places I used to go to, a waitress came up to me and asked me, hey, we see you all the time in here and see you writing. We're just kind of curious, what do you do? And I shared some of the writings with her and a couple other people. So then I got invited to like 3 poetry venues, and I didn't go until the 3rd one. And when I went, I read a poem about domestic violence. It was an untitled poem, and another one called Race. And it's got like a standing ovation. It's like 100 people, and that's like most people ever read in front of. And out of that, a gentleman named Wes Felton invited me to come to a poetry reading at Tacoma Station. And I didn't go the first invite that he asked me to. I went the following weekend. And when I went out there was no poetry reading at Tacoma Station. There was actually a performance by Eric Robeson. Raheem Devine was emceeing along with Wes Felton, the gentleman who had invited me, and he was also DJing, and then Kay Allen. And Wes introduced me to those 3 guys, and I was already a fan of Eric Robeson and Raheem Devine by listening to them on X Radio. And he introduced me to them, and I read some poems to them. They were, I guess you could say, impressed, and they asked me, hey, you do anything with music? It's like, no. They're like, you should. You ever thought about doing anything with your poems to music? No, you should. And from there, I just got motivated, and so I was going back to my hotel. I called my wife, like, hey, I think I'm going to start doing music. And she's like, huh? And I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to start doing music. I met Raheem Devine and Eric Robeson, and they told me I should get into doing music and stuff. And my wife was very supportive. She was like, okay, I guess this is what you're going to do. I don't know where it's coming from, but I guess. And just out of that, getting inspired and staying in contact with those guys, and them giving me some information as far as like what DAWs to use and things of that nature and techniques and stuff. That's just really how I got started.
Yeah.
So really, as of late, it's been working with a young artist from Maryland, Omar Knight, who goes by Virtuoso, who album recorded and produced since we've met, engineered and mixed. So that would be the biggest thing I've done in the last 2 years. I do have some other things that's coming down the pipe. Can't fully disclose them, but we'll be doing some big things with like HBO, Disney, Warner Brothers, Universal, Shout Entertainment. So those are the big ones that's coming down the pipeline.
You used to brush me off when I was back.
This artist here, he plays trumpet. He's classically trained. He composes. He does arrangement. He reads music. He sings. Does spoken word. He's a hip hop artist. He's a lyricist. He plays keys, and he's going to be learning to play guitar, I believe. He's a really expansive artist. He's a well-rounded, true artist in the sense of, if you think of like Prince or Dwele, artists that not only sing, but they also play multiple instruments, and they are true musicians. That's another key thing about him, that he's a true musician. He's even put together a band called Virtuosity, which consists of a drummer, bass player, lead guitar, a saxophonist, acoustic guitar, and drums. So
Yeah, when
he
I
can
was
write
like,
music,
yeah,
compose,
she was never looking my direction,
just mad talented.
but I still tried.
His introduction to the
I still
world,
wanted to know.
people see Walter
This
Tedesco
how I
of
felt
him as
about
an artist,
it's my story.
or as a person and as an artist, as he grows, as he's grown in the short time that I've met him. I mean, he also produces. Just really just introducing him to the world and letting them see how talented this young man is, and the vision that he's going to be around for a long time.
Brush me off when I was bad.